You're watching
Two Girls, Two Real.
We're a Miami podcast
with two dynamic women
who have been friends for 20 years.
We're both moms.
You're about to learn we have no filter.
Kate is a married mother of 3 and a businesswoman.
Anna is a single mom who is moving and shaking Miami's sweltering real estate market.
We won't apologize.
This is our raw take on life,
on love, and on everything in between. Nothing's out of bounds.
Let's go.
You're rolling. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is another episode of 2Girls2Real. And today we have our special guests, Ariel and Arena. And we are going to be talking about balancing work-life situations, especially when you're married and you're in a committed relationship and work together and all of that good stuff. So Ariel, please explain to us, what do you guys do? And give us a little bit of background about your company, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having us. This is really, really cool. We don't really get to leave much of our office and actually interact with other people. So this is a good thing for us. Well, like you said, I'm Ariel. We've been on the journey for the last 3 years together, both as a married couple, but also as entrepreneurs. Developing something that we think is powerful for the market, but also just life-changing for everyone involved. And the easy thing to say is that, oh yeah, everything's super simple and life is great, but it's never easy, right, to build anything. So I'm very lucky to have my wife, and I'll let her kind of make the introduction, the rest of the business. But we're very, we have a really interesting way of how we met and how life developed between us. And and so, I don't know, you take it.
Actually, it's very interesting you say that, because I was the person who would always say, don't work with your friends, don't work with your
And
family.
now you're working with your husband.
And I'm literally working with the closest family member that I have.
Not only that, work doesn't stop when you leave the office. It doesn't, just continues. Life for us is, we have a baby on the way, but
Congratulations! How exciting!
Yeah, thank you. But
First one, correct?
yeah, she's doing all the work, but I'm taking all the
She's
credit.
doing all
So
the
it's
Yeah.
Treating her good?
yeah.
She's working less?
No, probably
Funny
more.
enough,
She
I have
probably
more
doesn't
energy.
prefer to work anymore.
Probably more.
I have way more energy. Yeah.
Yeah, her pregnancy's been honestly
That's
nothing.
amazing.
What everybody told us she was gonna be nauseous, all this stuff. Honestly, I feel the pregnancy pains on my end more than anything.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's kind of weirded out by the whole thing, and I feel nauseous in the morning.
He has cravings.
I have
The
cravings.
energy transferred.
You guys are just connected.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Irina, please tell us a little bit about your guys' business, how you guys started, because we know that also the way you guys met is super interesting too.
Very cute story.
Yeah, tell we want to know everything. Give us something.
It was 2021. So I moved into a new apartment in Miami. And I'm like, okay, let me download the app Bumble and see, who's near me, who are the people that live around here. So I download the app and we match. And as Bumble goes, the girls
had
need
to make the move.
you need to message first. So what I do is I just send a smiley face, because you don't want to put too much effort into it, because
That
you
was
never
the
know.
only thing, the first thing
That
you
was
said,
the
just a
whole
smiley
thing.
face.
The only thing.
just a
Yeah.
smiley face, okay, yeah, I guess hi.
Or not.
From my perspective, to jump in and give it from the guy's perspective, I was matching before with other people because I had downloaded the app. I had this kind of weird story, which I was telling off camera here, but just to summarize it, I matched with somebody. They catfished me. They weren't who they said they were. They were using their daughter's picture.
So
it was somebody
disturbing. Oh my
who
God.
was not, representing themselves, I would say, the way they actually looked like. And I was kind of already like, okay, this thing doesn't work. And for me, I was in a position in my life where, from a success perspective, I thought I had achieved a lot of things, but I really had not. But I mean, you think your ego is like all
Yeah.
this. And so this girl sends me a smiley face, and I'm like, wow, she's not even trying. So there's not even an effort there. Like, at least the other girls would write, like, hello, how are you? Like, well, oh, what are you up to? Or they would write something about your profile, right? Or they would ask you a question, like, are you into sushi or burgers or something? No, smiley face. But I wrote back and
I was smiling.
You were smiling, yeah.
I wrote back and
She liked what she saw.
Yeah.
That's why she smiled.
yeah, but
Did
I
you
mean,
give her like a
really,
thumbs up or
put it-
something, or did you?
No,
you?
I wrote this whole dissertation for her, like, you know, like, I don't know. I wrote like the whole
Actually, I
thing.
don't remember the conversation.
that shows
Yeah.
how much actually
Pregnancy,
of
the
an impact that
pregnancy
made.
brain. You know, you won't remember
The
some
memory.
things.
How long after that smile did you guys actually meet?
Actually, pretty quick. I would say
Yeah.
within a week.
My like dating strategy at the time is just okay. You talk for 2 days, but then
You have to meet.
things need
Why
to
waste
happen.
your
Yeah.
time? Right.
I don't want to message for a long time. I don't want to give out, my social
Yeah.
media, all of that before I actually get to know you. So then we decide to meet, and at the time I was working with this electric car company called Lucid. So I was all day long, in the studios, opening up and interacting and so forth. So we decided to meet, I think, 9 p.m. at the Bayfront Park in Miami.
By the way, like, it was my grandmother's birthday that day.
January
Bunch-
23rd. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was January 23rd.
January 23rd, 2021. We meet. We're at Bayfront Park. I show up, and I think I'm like, the coolest.
Oh my God, the way
cool-
he shows up.
All right, you tell
It's
me.
January, but it's still
It's January
Miami.
in Florida, by the way. January in Florida, which is not January anywhere else in the world.
It's not cold,
It's not
right?
cold, it's hot.
Maybe it's windy, but it's still humid. It's still hot.
Yeah.
So I walk into the bayfront, where that big seafair boat is. And then I see a guy laying, not laying, but kind of like leaning on his
against.
Porsche with his leather jacket in that heat. And I'm like, oh, hi,
That's him.
Ariel.
I came off immediately as a total Miami douche. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that was like the most acceptable, outfit for a first date, especially with a girl that was kind of, with the whole time we had talked about literature and all her background, which was completely different than anything.
You wanted to give her like the bad boy vibe.
Yeah,
let
I
me
guess
pull
I
up
guess
in
I
a
was
leather
trying
jacket.
that, but like I'm the opposite of a bad boy. I'm a very simple, like not at all like that. But I don't know why I thought that was gonna be helpful, and then I show up with my leather jacket and
Yeah, and then we meet, and I'm just like, let's go for a walk. Because
okay, but here's the caveat. At that time in my life, I don't look at so much now because I've gained a lot of weight because of Health Bird. But when we met, I was in a huge, massive, like, I'm doing MMA, I'm doing boxing.
Wow.
In the mornings, I would spend 8 hours. So I barely worked because I worked 2 to 3 hours a day at most, for the most part. And I would spend so much time in the gym. And that day I did extra, because I knew I was going to meet with her.
So you did not wanna
I
walk?
did 10 hours. I ran 5 miles nonstop. And then on top of that, I did an entire session at the boxing gym that I was going to. And then on top of that, I did extra workout right before I went to go see her. Just so, you look good, then you feel confident. And then
this is testosterone level, yeah?
and then this girl comes up to me and
She's
says,
like, let's go for a walk.
let's go for a 7.5 mile walk for the next 3 hours. My legs were shaking. I was at one point I thought I was fully gonna collapse. And no food. Because she's like, no, let's not get dinner. No, let's dinner. She's like completely.
It was already 9-ish, 10.
Too late to
My
eat.
God.
I had reservations that I never told her about.
Sorry, I forgot to say with the mics real quick, we do have to speak directly into them. So
Okay.
I know you're facing her, but maybe like
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that?
All right.
Maybe like this.
Yeah, I guess I'll do like that so I can speak to it.
Don't be awkward, though.
Yeah, okay.
He's fine.
Okay. No, I'm
Okay.
A little forward.
just because I don't.
it might seem.
It's hard not to look at her and
I know,
respond to
I
her,
know.
so that's why.
Pardon my reach.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there.
No worries.
No, thank you.
And you tell us, guys, if
No, no, you
we're going around the same topic for too long. If we just like cut and move on.
No, it's
'Cause we
fine.
can
Like,
talk.
let's just get to the
Flow,
fact
yeah.
where you guys
Yeah.
met, and I really like that fact that
With
that
your
you
building.
guys didn't have a wedding, and you decided to invest into the company. That's, I think,
And have
is
a
super,
3-year
super
wedding.
Okay, that's
empowering.
perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Anya, let's go.
Okay. So just to wrap up that, and I guess in a nice little bow and tie, well, we basically had the greatest, most painful first date ever, in my opinion.
I
And
enjoyed it. I don't know what date you were on.
well, I mean, do you want to tell them about what I did on our second date?
Yeah, well, after the
Was
first
it painful for her?
So first date was walking.
No.
First date was
I didn't
walking.
retaliate. Let's put it that way. Just give me 1 second here. It's kind of falling. I don't
date, first day we walked, then he didn't message me. And then I'm like,
Oh, he didn't message you.
I guess I should have,
No way. After
Actually-
7 hours of walking,
Well, I
he
was
didn't-
kind of tired. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm
Like,
not.
I gotta sleep
wasn't.
this date off before I holler back.
I felt it was a lot. It was a very high energy date. It was a lot of discussion. I felt like I was in an entire interview like I am now, but really like it was more of an intense interview than anything else.
yeah, we literally talked about why people coming to the U.S. shouldn't be called aliens. And like, it's
deep.
just, it
Like,
was very
Wow,
deep.
you guys went deep.
It was-
we
yeah.
debated the existence of life itself.
Oh my
within the
God.
first date.
And it was right after COVID times, homelessness in California. It was a big topic for some reason.
We were very, very adamant that we needed to discuss every
But
possible
we
topic.
finished the first date. I think it went great. We went home the next day. He doesn't message me, and I'm like, okay, at least we had a great time. I had a great time.
At least you walked.
Yeah, we got some good cardio in.
I had a good time. And then he doesn't message me on the next day. But the day after, actually, I had a date. And then he messages me saying, like, hey, how's it going? What are your plans tonight? And I'm like, oh, I actually have something planned. And he's like, okay, if I come in 15 minutes, are you able to come down to meet me? And I'm like, okay. And he came to the same bayfront, and I live nearby. And I go down, and he comes in with this like huge basket with a lot of teas, chocolate, fruits, wine.
Everything we had
sweet.
talked about, all the items we had talked about during the
Just
time.
put it in one
We
basket.
put it
Very
into one
thoughtful.
basket. I went to this lady, by the way, this is just an advertisement for Fresh Market, but just for all gentlemen out there who wanna impress somebody, but want to do it kind of quick and sort of on a budget, you go to Fresh Market and you go to this lady. There's usually, it doesn't matter where you are, what Fresh Market are, there's a lady. That
was a
lady,
lady.
you go to that lady and you tell her, I want to impress my first date, or you want to impress somebody, whatever, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever, and just say, give me one of everything. She'll put it together for you. She'll give you her own price. She'll take the money herself. She won't give it to Fresh Market, which is the secret. She'll charge you $70 for an amazing bouquet of things.
But
Right?
this lady works.
There's
for
waiting
Fresh-
for but she's she
like low-key.
it's on the down
It's
low.
Miami style.
It's Miami style.
Miami
style. Got it.
And then you pay her
Sounds
$70
about
and
right.
you're good. And then
So and then you impressed.
It worked.
It had everything. Okay,
Exactly.
so you
Shout out to
accepted
the
the
Fresh
basket.
Market lady.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, well, I guess let's do it. So then the second time we didn't walk. We went to a restaurant and
Yeah.
we
sat.
We sat down and we
Exactly.
ate.
And,
How long did it take you guys from the meeting? So you guys had like the engagement, and then what? How,
No, not engagement. No.
Yeah.
So we actually, I'll jump in there. We had on the third date pretty much ready to go, ready for marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
was
you're
like
both
how
looking
many
for
more
marriage.
miles did you walk?
No, not that many more miles, but I think for me it was like the people say love at first sight. I don't think it's
Yeah, I
love at
believe
first
that.
sight. I think it's love at first understanding. I will call it that way. I really understood who she was and her values. I'm a person. I'm not like I was in a previous marriage before. This is not my first rodeo. Let's call it. And I knew exactly what I didn't want and exactly what I wanted. And so for me, at least from my perspective, it was like she checked off so many boxes. Sure, she wasn't perfect. There was things that maybe I
What
would
do you
have
mean
to.
she wasn't perfect?
Well, I mean,
tell that to my mom tomorrow.
I might
She'll
not.
take her back.
I might be served with divorce papers after this, but no, but like all joking aside, like she kind of checked off all those boxes. And as a man in your late 20s, you were kind of like always. For me, marriage was the ultimate goal and very important because I have a huge family. I'm very family oriented. I have always strived to have a big family.
What's
and
your background?
Cuban American.
And you guys come from two different cultures that
Two entirely
value-
different worlds, but actually
family.
extremely similar.
Did you even know her country
Oh, I knew, yeah.
existed?
That was the reason I knew that I like him, because
He knew where Armenia was?
He knew where Armenia was, and he knew the political situation at the time
Wow.
that was
Impressive.
going. And I'm like,
That's
okay.
impressive.
For a Miami boy, very
For-
impressive.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I did have a really tough, grandfather when I was growing up that made us learn all the capitals and
okay.
and all the geography of every major continent. So I knew about Armenia, I knew about Georgia, I knew about the whole region, I knew about the conflict between Russia and Georgia and how it had spilled over into Azerbaijan and all the things that
Wow.
happened
Very
there. So I was able to kind of
So
speak
you're
to
like,
her.
wow, right? Like
It was
that-
a huge
yeah,
check
of course,
mark for
especially
me.
here
Yeah.
in these days.
And
yeah.
she's such a patriot, even though she like honestly, she
gotta
cares more
represent.
about she cares more about that fact that I knew about Armenia more than anything else. Like, oh, you're a horrible person, but you know about Armenia, great,
You're good.
awesome. Let's jump
You
on
know
board.
what? Armenians love
Yeah.
their country. I'm telling you, I haven't met an Armenian that was not a huge patriot.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's insane. Like the
I-
level of their commitment to their country.
When the moment that I knew I wanted to marry her was roughly about our third date, and we talked about even marriage like roughly around our fourth.
We talked
date.
about kids.
We talked about
Not
kids
married.
and like marriage within like our third, fourth date. We built a business by our fourth date. We built a nonprofit organization which actually is the name of our parent company today, which is called Reflect. It was actually a really cool concept. And by the way, take this for free, anybody. You could do
You're
it.
giving away my idea, by the way.
Take it.
It's her idea,
You describe
but he'll
it.
talk
You
about
describe
it.
it. How about that?
So at the time I was doing my master's, and it's our fourth date, and I go to him with this idea, like, because you're in the tech space, what do you think about this app that you go in, answer a simple questions based on what you care about, and it matches you to vetted organizations that are nonprofit that actually utilize the funds that you provide to them, not only for marketing and operations, but the money actually gets delivered
For the
to
cause.
exactly to the cause,
Wow.
people, kids,
Yeah.
pets, and you see how they utilize it, and you get some type of
Reporting.
You know how
individualized,
many
personalized
times I've had
reports.
that thought that actually we
Yeah,
even
you
talked
don't
about.
know
I was
where
like,
your
what
money's
do
going.
I don't know
Yeah.
where. I don't know what's legit these days, what's not. Okay, so what happened with that concept?
Fifth date, he comes in with a full prototype of the app.
Oh wow!
That was
He just
my-
won my heart.
I had
Very impressive.
I took my my designer that worked for one of my other companies. I tell him, you got 24 hours to build a prototype. These are all the specifications.
No pressure.
I put together a wireframe. I put together some basic code for it. And then he came back and designed. I mean, he's obviously an amazing designer. Came back, designed this beautiful project with logos, design elements, brand styles, all the things.
Iconography,
Iconography,
illustrations,
illustrations.
branding
Amazing.
elements.
So you bring
So
the
that-
With a
this
full
prototype,
business
like, will you
plan,
marry me?
financials, and this basically it was like a financial
Like a
transaction,
Transactional.
but within our fourth to
And
fifth date.
the
so.
interesting part, that was the time when we actually started speaking about where we can take this product. At the time, it was the nonprofit, but what about investors bringing in to the company? What is angel investor? What is venture capital? At the time, I didn't
For
know
you, that
one
was
of
a whole different space.
Yeah.
It's
right?
just so different. The CEO, CMO, okay, all these positions, they sound like very scary to me. And we start talking more and more and more, and our relationship, evolves.
Develop.
And I meet with his parents, and his parents, obviously, they all, speak Spanish full, like very little English, but I get integrated to that very easily. Honestly, I didn't even
I
feel
don't
any
know how.
resistance.
So they welcomed you?
Not only welcomed her, they're like,
They
yeah,
love me more than they
they
love
they
him.
they they're like,
would,
yeah, we
yeah.
like her. You can stay. You can stay over there. We'll bring her in, and it's funny because Cubans and Armenians obviously have nothing to do with each other culturally and from a language, from even a food perspective. But she felt so at home with my family because it's exactly what an Armenian family looks like and sounds like.
Just on
Clo-
the different
close-
part of the world.
close-knit.
It's
just
true.
just less vodka and smoking,
Yeah.
but pretty much generally
Yeah.
the same concept.
The family
right?
values
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
very,
Very
much
family
aligned.
oriented.
Yes.
There is no such thing as, okay, you're my immediate cousin or you're my immediate relative. That's why we're
Yeah.
together at the dinner table.
Yeah.
They're third, fourth cousin. They're all together
Yeah.
sitting around. And the most interesting part that I learned about his parents his parents' childhood, they watched the same cartoons as I did because
the communists
during Soviet Union,
Oh, that's
in
right.
Russia, in Armenia,
Cubans
we
were
watched.
Yeah.
Cubans were basically a Soviet.
course.
So his
part,
dad and his uncles, everyone, they love Nu Pagadi.
Yeah,
If
anyone-
favorite.
Wow,
If anyone knows the cartoon. And I love it because those are the cartoons I grew
those
up
are the
watching.
things we grew up with.
And they had actually probably a lot more in common than we did because I had never watched those cartoons
Yeah.
growing up in the U.S. But it was immediately like, it was kismet. It was like, everything came together. Her parents, even though they barely spoke English, her mom speaks more English than her dad. Her dad didn't speak English at all. When I met him now, he speaks pretty decent English.
I
But
bet you he gave you a shot, and if you were able to take that shot of vodka,
oh,
you're
no,
in,
no.
right?
The first day he made me drink an entire bottle
Yeah, sounds
of
about
cognac.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not a drinker.
Yeah.
So
But
for
you
me,
had to
that
do
was
it, you had to
for me.
do
For me, I had
He's not.
pretended to be like this like raging alcoholic on the
Was
first
it an
day.
Armenian cognac?
Of course it
Ararat,
was.
of
Ararat. Yeah. Well, how else could you do it? And so he accepted me pretty much right away. Her brother immediately found me, as somebody who he can talk to, all that. And I immediately matched with their family in a very positive way. But the funniest thing, actually, the reason why I proposed her and the day the moment I proposed her was actually in Armenia, but it was through this kind of weird
In
happening
Armenia.
in Armenia.
Oh, you did it in Armenia.
Yeah. Well,
Did you have any
no, I
idea?
didn't have a ring. I didn't have anything. I just told her, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to get the ring later. But basically, I even asked her mom that while we were in the car driving to a monastery that I'm going to propose to your daughter. And she said, yeah, it's okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
She said, go ahead, take her. We're good.
And then
So-
did you guys, because thinking about Cubans and Armenians, that wedding should have
been like
huge,
1,000 people.
Zero chance of
Zero guests.
Zero guests. How about that?
Let me tell
Yeah,
the
go
story.
for it.
So
Yes.
we get engaged, everything is official, and we decide to have a wedding. And I was still working at the company. The idea of the nonprofit, kind of we put it
To the back burner,
in
yeah.
a few months, and we got engaged. I think after we started dating,
6 months after, yeah.
6-7 months. Yeah, it happened relatively quickly, but when
Yeah.
you know, you know.
Right.
And I started planning a wedding.
She
And I
had
started
wedding
planning-
planners and everything.
And I started planning a wedding in Armenia with all my family traveling from Russia, from US, his entire family of 70, 80 people
That's the immediate family.
That's just
the
immediate.
primos
The
and the
close
tios.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
traveling to Armenia, arranging all the
Translation.
translations, everything.
Tour guides, people to
a lot of
Oh my
translate.
God,
Hotels.
so much logistics to just
Yeah.
even put.
It was a 400-person wedding.
Oh my
And then
God.
when my when my wedding organizer asked, so what car do you want to get for everyone to get transported? I just okay, let me call you back, Ariel. I don't want a wedding. What if we just
No car. I don't want
no, it was getting so much,
Of
and I was
course.
realizing one day all this effort, all this much money putting into this project. What if we start a company? And
Awesome.
that was the moment when we're like, okay, no wedding, and we kind of
Well,
forgot.
we also
about it.
kind of blamed it on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. So.
I see. To get out of the
To kind of
whole-
get out of it,
Blame it on the
I'm not
politics,
gonna lie. There was
So the timing helped you on that one.
exactly.
Yeah?
It kind of helped us because my family got afraid of traveling to that area.
course.
Her family was in Russia, a good portion of it. So we were like, okay, this actually might not make sense to do because of all the logistics, all the
right.
people going. And my parents, and while I was in their house actually visiting, she had told me that I don't want the wedding. I thought she was kind of just women get tired and frustrated with the
Yeah,
wedding planning
in the process.
and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. There's she had done that already twice, so I assumed that that it was just more of the same. I still want the wedding. It's just I really hate the planning, right? And then my parents are like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to go with this whole Russia, Ukraine conflict. And then I called her and I said, are you serious about it? And she's like, yeah, I'm very serious about it. I said, okay, here's the excuse. Here's the reason why we can kind of use
Get
it
out
for
of
our van. Not no offense to Ukraine or Russia and the conflict. Obviously, very sad situation, but we used it for our own advantage of trying to get out of it, where we can still get married, get all the benefit of the marriage of being together and all that stuff, but at the same time not deal with all the logistics of it. So And then,
The day we got married,
yeah.
at a very weird location, he took me to actually sign the papers.
Not in Bayfront?
In Miami. So, okay, hold on. Let me.
Wait, what's this weird location in Miami?
So
They
hold
were
on.
baking, they were selling used clothes, and upstairs they asked me to sign. I'm like,
Where was this? Was it
Baking and selling
Hold on.
clothes. Is this in Hialeah somewhere?
Okay. Hold on. Well, so my dad's a public notary, and he can't obviously sign our papers because he's related. So then my dad says, I have a friend of mine who's
course
got
he
a
has a
public notary office somewhere in Hialeah, like
knew it. I told you
in
it
the
had to be
west,
Hialeah.
but like the worst part of Hialeah, like the part that hasn't been developed yet. And so basically, he sends me to this kind of strip mall, and they have pastelitos on the first floor. They have used
Cafecito,
clothes.
and then,
Well, exactly. And the woman owned a travel agency, and she's selling travel, immigration, papers.
One-stop
She's
shop.
selling.
What
she's
you
selling
want
jewelry.
today? I got
She was selling jewelry. She was selling jewelry in the back of the store, and she had a puppy sales and one part. And she was also a public notary. So as we're signing these public documents and all that, she's notarizing it. She's like, "Would you guys like pastelitos, cafecito, puppies, used clothes?"
You could have had your wedding already there between everything.
And she had like a line of people out the door waiting for a bunch of our services.
That's a very Miami moment.
1,000%. And so she's never been a part of any of that. I grew up
So
in
if she
like
made it through that, she's a
kind of.
keeper. Yeah.
the funny part, I don't even question. I just go.
You just go.
And after that, I realized, like, Ariel, where did you take me? Like, this
Yeah,
should
she
have
was
been
like,
more of a
are you
celebration.
sure? Are you sure that we did officially get married? Because we're not 100% sure these papers are legitimate.
Did you get your license?
Yeah, we did. We
Okay,
did. We
so
did.
you're okay. Just,
We are married. We are married.
We signed everything, and I think the next day we registered the company.
Yeah, we no 2
oh, you
days later.
registered the company?
So 2 days later,
2 days.
I tell her, if we're ever going to do this company thing, let's put together the funds that we were going to go use for the wedding. Instead, let's go fund the company and let's put a down payment to get the whole thing done. And let's start working towards it. It only costs us $99 to open up an LLC. Let's do it. And we opened up the first Reflect Technologies, and which was not, by the way, the original concept of it was this nonprofit. But then you want to talk about the day you came in, and it was December.
Algorithm?
It was before Christmas. And we were living in a previous apartment that I had in Edgewater here in Florida or in Miami. And you want to tell a story?
And a real quick remark, the reason it's called Reflect is because of that nonprofit app that reflects your
part of you,
values and what you care about, but it's with a K. So it's
Oh, I see,
Reflect
okay.
because K on,
If you reflect it in the mirror,
exactly.
It
right?
You
reflects
can see
perfectly,
and you
yeah.
can play around
Yeah.
on the marketing
Yeah.
side a lot. So that's why we named the company Reflect. But it was in December, right before we got married. I think we just moved in together because my lease expires, and I'm like, okay, either I get another 12 months or we move in and we get married.
And by the way, her apartment was the size of that table. And it was literally
that's
like...
not true. It was 500 square feet.
Okay.
Oh, to the big table.
I love my
a
apartment.
slightly bigger table. I have been to hotel rooms that are larger by total space.
I loved my apartment.
So you guys moved, she moved into...
She moved into my
Okay.
apartment, which was a
It was
lot
600
larger.
square feet.
Okay.
Well, no, mine was a
It was-
two-bedroom, two-bath,
it
and
was big,
overlooking
big.
the ocean.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
mine,
You had that
so-
leather jacket. remember?
exactly.
So
Mine,
you
mine
were-
was
you were more
slightly better.
advanced.
Mine was slightly better, but it was still, she hated it because all of our neighbors were basically OnlyFans models and partying all day.
Oh, my
So
yeah.
she had, there was a lot of weird encounters in the elevators.
Only fans in Miami? What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, of course. There's no
building?
such thing.
So then, that company Reflect, is that what you guys are part of today, or
Well,
that
yeah,
went into
so-
something else?
So I think there's a larger story there, but before we get into that, I think it would be good to say why we pivoted and why the company is nothing to do with nonprofits, because it has nothing to do with nonprofits today.
And has to do with health
It has to
insurance
do
for
with
some
has to do with
reason.
health insurance, healthcare, and health technology. But you want to kind of explain that little
And
pivotal
what's
moment?
the name of the company now?
HealthBird.
Now there's 7 companies.
No, now there's 7 different companies underneath one parent company
yeah,
called Oneness.
which is very scary.
Okay.
Which is, but that's a huge part of what the company's evolved to. It started as originally as HealthBird, which is a
Health space, like healthcare?
yeah, healthcare, like like a bird and health. And it was a simple, easy to remember name. It was a pink logo. with a bird, and I designed the original first logo. Then
Which we still use, though.
we still use in many ways, but it was just to represent something simple, right? Make healthcare transparent and make health insurance transparent and simple. That was the objective. But it all started with one night in December that she walked in and I was writing an algorithm for the original Reflect to do a matching algorithm that could basically do multi-matches based on your personality, right? So you would, like you Bumble or Tinder, right? You enter a little bit about yourself and then it uses different information about you to basically find you matches. And I was doing it for the sake of Reflect, the original concept of the nonprofit, but then...
And then she comes in.
And then, yeah, I opened the door. It's 10 p.m. I'm exhausted. I think he's already sleeping. I just come in and I see, you know, the whiteboards were usually there on the walls? Yeah. So he's holding the whiteboard, just walking around the room, and his hair are not as pretty as it is right now. They're just like all the way up, which looks a little crazy. And I'm like, everything okay? You're fine?
By the way, this is like our second day of marriage.
Oh,
So like
You see
second
him-
or
you
no
see
no
him in
this
the-
is
No,
our,
not-
sorry, our second month of marriage. Yeah.
And then I'm just like, everything okay? And he's like, I think I got it. I'm like, elaborate. And he's like, I think I wrote the algorithm through which we can make this work. So then we started talking about, you quit your job, I quit my job, let's
And
put
you do it
everything
together.
together. And actually, let's execute this.
And how did you guys, so you were going into this already as married couple.
Yeah.
So basically, you're quitting what you were doing, you're quitting what you were doing, and fully dedicating
Fully
your time to this
dedicated,
new
yeah.
thing. So how did you guys define the roles from the start? Like that's
Through
because
fighting.
did you
Through a
already
lot of
know
fighting.
each other's strengths and weaknesses? Because at
No, we
that
didn't.
point,
It was
where
too
We
young.
because you
didn't.
were still
Yeah.
getting to know each other,
We
right?
weren't even
Essentially.
we weren't even like we didn't really understand each other yet.
We
I mean,
didn't
like,
even know each other as
Wow.
a married
Right.
couple.
Right.
Like I didn't know her habits, how you know what side of the bed she likes to sleep on. Like I knew kind of the idea of her based on the days of dating, but we didn't live together, right?
Right.
So we were still kind of getting to know each other. And funny enough, part of it was as we were getting to know each other, building the business actually accelerated that so much because we fought a lot. The first 3 months of building this company, our marriage was always on the line.
First year.
So
let's-
why
let's-
was that? Because of not like the goals were aligned, right?
The goals
But-
weren't
or-
aligned. No, absolutely. I'm super hard to work for or work with. I'm like the hardest person in the world to ever like please because I'm a
Would
perfectionist.
you like me to share that part?
Well, yeah, sorry,
But who was essentially, I don't want to say on top, but who was the leader?
I started off because I pivoted the company.
Okay.
So I told her let's
But that
not.
was clear to you too, right?
Well,
At
no,
the
yeah,
time?
we sat
Yeah.
down, we talked about it, and she can explain her perspective of it. My perspective was that to build a nonprofit, it's going to be very difficult, and building technology for nonprofits, it's not as scalable as you would like it to be. Let's start off something else, and then maybe come back and revisit that later down the road. We never have, but you know,
Because you also have 7 other companies. right?
exactly. We've expanded beyond that, but the idea of I was in the healthcare space already. I was already in a health insurance company doing something within the similar line, but nothing digital, focused more on the grunt work that is behind building a health insurance carrier and all that. And I sold that company in 2017, had made some money. So I was like, I know the healthcare space well. If we do this for healthcare, we're gonna really do something powerful. It's gonna change not only the healthcare space, but it's really redefine how people access health insurance in the U.S. Which, by the way, it's one of the worst. It's the reason why people say, why is health insurance such a political topic? Because everybody thinks that it's really bad because of the insurance companies or that. The insurance companies are part of it for sure, but it's also because of the people that you don't know, the brokers, the people that are trying to sell you insurance. They're trying to scam you because they're trying to take away all the freedom that you have of choosing and trying to position a product on you that you think you need, but in reality you don't need it.
Right.
You need
They
this,
just grab
and
it.
they're just trying to maximize their commission. And we wanted to build something under the premise that, hey, we can be transparent, we could be cooler, we could be faster, we can be much more, efficient,
to help the
and
people,
and,
yeah.
and the biggest thing was transparency. So, if you want to
And what role did you take? So you were the CEO? Is that right? So from the
Yeah.
beginning, you were
Yeah,
you
I
had
was,
a
yeah.
CEO role, and
Yeah.
then how did you come in?
I think that the balance, not the balance, but the positions, what positions we're taking, that wasn't as much of a,
We never really
a
discussed it, I
conflict,
guess, yeah.
or I agree that you should be the CEO, or no, I need to be the
Okay.
CEO. I think I was always, my personality is always, I want to find a very strong leader, and I want to help them to execute on their ideas. So those are my strengths, and I think Ariel, he's just such a creative soul, and he can just execute so many things at the same time. Let me
So
rephrase,
you
not
guys
execute.
complemented each
Come
other.
up
It's a
with,
balance.
and I can execute.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for us, the roles weren't as much of a difficult topic, but rather than this is the project, this is what we're taking. We truly want to bring innovation into the space of health insurance. How do we do? Let's create an app
Yeah.
to help people that don't have health insurance today through their partner, through their company. They can go into the app, that's HealthBird, and just by entering a few simple information about themselves, they can see all the variety of insurance plans
And
available.
how long was it in the development?
It took us about a year, roughly. To give you an idea, I started the first design myself early January after we had incorporated the business and all that. We pivoted. I built the algorithm, the first one. I built the first prototype. It sucked, didn't work. It was horrible. I took it to my ex boss, who was the CEO of a huge insurance company. I told him, like, what do you think of this idea for the company I already was in? I was CEO of that subsidiary for them, and they're like, no, that won't ever work. You know, that this industry doesn't really need disruption. I mean, anybody who tells you an industry doesn't need disruption is because they themselves are the
They're not doing it.
they themselves will never be the
Yeah.
disruptors, right? So I took the original concept, took it back to the designer that designed the first iteration, and said, hey, help me make this work, right? And give him the vision, give him the strategy, and he came back with an amazing prototype that I used that prototype.
Still?
It's evolved from then, but that original prototype for the first year, I used it for getting the partnerships with the insurance companies, getting all the state approvals, getting all the things that we needed to do from a compliance
Licensing, yeah.
and regulatory perspective, and I literally took the leap of faith of like, we're gonna make this work regardless of anything else. We're gonna figure it out, because it's just, if we don't figure it out, it's a sinking ship type thing. We burn the boats, right? There is no coming back to this. There is no safety net, right? And our safety net was that we were dumping all of our savings into this. So even that in itself was never going to be something that we were going to
Right.
recover if this didn't work. So for me, I saw her, and my perspective was that she was the person I needed all along to execute this idea. Because I have had ideas like this all the time, but I've never had the right
Take
partner.
it, get it somewhere.
And we fought a lot at the beginning because we were trying to define what each other's, goals were. Because the company had goals, but we didn't have goals. Like I would just go in all the time. I would just like take over what she was doing, or she would come in and take over what I was doing.
Sounds like
And-
you were in overdrive all the time.
Yeah, because I'm always
Yeah.
nonstop, and she's a little bit more calm. And so for me, it was a little bit of like, oh, are you not taking this seriously? Because I'm taking it very seriously.
So
But her
I think
approach was, it's what you needed.
So I think this is very common with any CEOs, any leaders of the company. The time is always of the essence. So
Yeah.
if they ask for something, it's not done within the next few days. They just start doing it. They're not gonna go and ask and investigate what's the status. They just start doing it.
Right.
And that is what we were fighting a lot with Ariel, because I'm the person that I need to first understand. Health insurance is a new industry for me.
Yeah.
I don't even understand, whether you can make the payment directly with the carrier or you need to make the payment with someone else. And I need to research that part. I need to understand what's out there in the industry. So it was taking me a little bit of time. And that's where he would get a little frustrated. Yeah, and it's like, I'll just do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I have the tendency to not only just do it, but then like also criticize you. Why didn't you do it? Even though I
I
did it
know
myself.
someone like that.
Perfectionist.
Oh, it's not even perfection. It's just the fact that I can do it faster and better. Why would I let you do it, right? Like that was my opinion
Like if
always.
you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
Yeah, but that doesn't work. That
No.
doesn't work in anything
You
in
need to
life.
delegate, yeah.
You have to know when to give away and release your baby and like let it be taken by someone else. I learned that also from all the experiences of this time of, you know, I had been a CEO of previous companies, but I've been CEO underneath other umbrellas, right? So when I was CEO of Olo Tour, that was under a big, massive umbrella of a different company where I reported to the CEO of
You
that
had
company.
a lot of guidance too.
Not
right?
only
And
that, I had a
structure.
mentor, I had guidance. I
Yeah.
also had like very unique. I was uniquely positioned in a way where if I did anything, there was nothing I could do wrong because it was all kind of
You were
micro.
protected
It was
from
exactly. It was
above.
micromanaged to
Yeah.
an extent, so it was very different than now being in, like.
You're in charge. You're
You're
like
in
in the
that
front
position.
seat.
If,
Yeah.
if everything goes right, you get the
Yeah.
you get the you
and
get
if
the
it
nice.
goes wrong, you're the one that you have to-
Exactly. So.
And today, so the company, how big is the company today?
So the company's actually evolved so much this year. Last year we grew tremendously. We went from zero revenue when we started in 2022. At the end of 2022, we launched.
Yeah.
The company spent the first 3 months failing. And the funniest,
Massively?
massively. The first 3 months of our launch, we thought we were the hottest shit. Sorry for
Yeah,
cursing.
it's okay.
We were the hottest thing that existed in the market, and we got proven immediately wrong by like when the 2 weeks after we launched, we had sold 4 people. And we had
Our parents.
and our parents were one of the people. So
You gotta start somewhere.
so no, but the funniest part is that we thought the product was like it was going to be a
How
hot
do you
seller.
not want this, right?
Like how do you why would you want to go with a regular traditional
Yeah.
insurance broker or sale or
Right.
instead of using this awesome app and tool and all these other things. And we had spent a lot of money on marketing. It's not like we had like zero marketing. We had already at that point spent close to about $100,000 in 3 weeks of marketing. And we were like, oh, this is not working.
So what we did is the app is ready. It's November 1st. That's when open enrollment starts for everyone to
Yeah.
enroll. And we go to our conference room in our first office that we built ourselves, literally painted and everything. We put the numbers on the screen and we just sit in front of it on November 1st and like, let's see. And nothing happens. And nothing happens. So the second day, the third day, the first week, the first month, and we're like, okay, we'll failing miserably. Because we sat down and we thought that the sales are just gonna come to us.
I have a question on that note. So you were both fully in, you both see that it's failing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your relationship like? Like when you were going home at that time, both frustrated, both angry at the
Yeah.
situation. How were you handling that at home?
Dynamic must have been a little bit uncomfortable. No?
And the ride home at the time is not like now it's 10 minutes. It was about like 55 minutes. So it was a
Okay.
very
Yeah.
long ride.
Our first
Intense
office, by the way,
drive, right?
our first office, by the way, was in the back of a office park in the middle of the Everglades by Pembroke
wow.
Pines.
Warehouses.
Warehouses. It was the most obscure. People when we told them where our office was, they're like, "Are you gonna kill me? Are you taking me to dump my body?" type thing. Because it was literally in the middle of
alligators are
nowhere,
right
and it was a very cheap, easy place for us to get. We didn't have to put a huge deposit down.
Because
Obviously,
we had employees. It wasn't only two
Already,
of
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
We
You
had
already had it at
employees,
that point.
we had to
licensed
invest
agents.
ahead of time
yeah.
to get employees and all that.
So
We
what
had-
happened? What like did you guys take it out on each other? Did you guys look at it as okay, it's a challenge we're gonna overcome together?
I don't remember
Yeah.
us worrying that we're failing and it's your fault because I told you. I remember us trying to figure it out. Okay, if this is not working, I'm sure there are other ways because there are companies out there that are doing this successfully. Is it a marketing problem? Is it a problem that is just not enough of individuals? What is
it
the
a
problem?
technology problem?
So you guys were on the same page.
Well, honestly, after our first, because we already had spent a year
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
or doing the R&D as they call it, right? We already got settled into like understanding each other's flows, and so by the time that we're failing at this launch, and we're not like at each other's throats because this it's your fault or it's my fault. Actually, I was mostly, in my opinion, depressed that the fact that like I couldn't make it work So I think I just kind of retracted into myself a little bit. Didn't lash out. She didn't lash out at me either, but I think I just got I closed down and I was like, okay, it has to do something with the original concept of what we built. Because
So you guys didn't give up.
oh, absolutely not.
You were
Opposite.
disappointed,
because
but not,
today
you
you
didn't
guys
take
are.
it out on each
How
other.
many employees do you have today?
700 employees.
Wow.
And
worldwide.
Worldwide. And you guys are headquartered where?
Here in Miami. Here.
Here in Miami. So right now you're still working together as
Yeah.
of today, right? So
Yeah.
what is
Still
your
married.
role?
Still married.
What is
Still-
your role, Marina?
Now I'm taking the role of the CMO. So I was initially
So you took
as
the
a,
marketing.
on operations side, and now I completely moved it to marketing, branding. So everything that happens with the customer interaction when they do come to that first touch with our brand, whether it's HealthBird or all the
Yeah.
other ones, that is me, my team building it, because throughout these 3 years, I did so much research and I understood so much about all the D2C companies, how they operate, how much expensive, it can get, that it needs 100% focus of one individual on the higher level, on my position. I cannot be combining operations, marketing, and sales. It just really needs to be focused
What do you
on.
enjoy more?
Huh?
What do you enjoy more, operations or marketing?
I definitely love diving in when it comes to operations, how exactly we're performing right now. But I think it really speaks to marketing a lot in terms of
it's dependent, of course.
exactly
They're codependent.
what type of marketing we're putting
Of
out
course.
there. Does it actually reflect to the customer experience? So I definitely love what I do now. It's just there's so much more that I want to do. I want to expand with my team and bring in more people here in Miami. But I think that the first 2 years of us working together, that first year when we were really, really fighting, like sometimes we would just get into the car and just don't talk to me because you said this in the meeting in front of everyone and you don't respect me. But then I think those are the fights
That was
that maybe
mostly you saying that to me, by the way. I did undermine her a lot, and that's actually one of the things I had to learn the hard way.
You learned, though.
It's not undermining because I was trying to do it on purpose. It was just how I would just in front of every other one of our executives and team members. I would just, this is early on, these are the core founding teams. I would just say, "Oh, Irina, you have no idea what you're talking about. Stop talking." That would immediately enrage her. That would enrage anybody.
Yeah.
Especially all around your peers and people that that report to her would listen to me say that to her. That would immediately put her on and she was so, actually she never blew up on me enough. If somebody had done that to me, I would have blown up on them. She was very calm. She would even go through the whole meeting acting like nothing happened. So if anything, I would give her kudos to not being the person that would have gone and just basically ripped my head off for that. So
But
That's
once we get
amazing.
into the car, then he
oh,
heard all of it.
I heard it.
Yeah, but that's
In the
much better
privacy
than.
of-
But she was a very calculating and tactful person. She knew when to talk, when not to, and she still does. I mean, I'm not saying that she's gotten worse or anything. But if anything, she's become so much more inspirational to other people within the company because of the fact that she's not like me. She's not the person who's hot-headed, who's gonna be you did that wrong and really make you feel wrong. She's very, very,
You're Armenian and not hot-headed? How?
very much so.
Wow.
And I'm
I'm
more
imp-
Armenian than anything
Wow.
on that
wow,
side.
wow. And so, how about the romance and then the whole relationship aspect of okay, at the end of the day, you're still husband and wife. Yes, you
Yeah.
work together. Yes, your vision aligns. You have common work-related goals. But how do you guys keep that balance? Do you guys have date nights? Do you guys
'Cause you
have
have to
a certain
disconnect a little bit
cutoff
from-
time
Well-
that we're not going to talk about work now? What is that like?
That's such an important question. And for all the listeners
Yes.
out there that do work with their significant other or eventually going to work with their significant other, something that is very, very important to understand. At the beginning, you're not going to be able to disconnect. As much as you would want to, after 6 work ends, if you're an entrepreneur, you have your business, I mean,
Yeah, it never stops.
you don't
Right.
disconnect. It's not 9 to 5 now it's 9 till midnight. So for us, the first year, it was just a little chaos trying to understand each other as husband and wife, as partners. But the second year, that's when I actually reached out to a therapist because I was doubting myself a lot in terms of maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I don't know things that I'm doing. And the realization, by the way, no one knows what they're doing. Everyone is
Yeah,
figuring
you learn in
out.
the process,
Yes.
especially in today's world. Yeah.
And what she told me is, Irina, you gotta understand whenever you're a partner and the moments that you're a wife.
Yeah.
So when you're
Know the
home,
rules.
the moment you sit down inside the car, you close the door, you're wife.
Your wife.
Yeah.
And somehow, naturally, we just got to the point when we would leave work. Let's say we're just fighting at work or arguing about
Yeah.
certain things. The moment we get into the car, even though it happens 20 seconds ago,
It's just you guys
Okay, what
and-
do you want to eat? Completely different mood, completely changed.
And going back to your original question on the romance side, I think what we found that worked for us, and this might be different for everyone else, but the fact that we like what we do helps our romance, believe it or not, because
It's inspiring, probably even seeing
Yeah.
your partner in that role, like you
Exactly.
watching her
Thriving,
grow and then be able to take even
I
more.
fall in love
thing-
with her more so than I think our relationship is stronger.
Admiration grows.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because of our relationship at the work level too. I obviously love her as a wife, but I also love her as a partner.
Right.
And I think there's nothing stronger. Like if you've ever worked with somebody and you worked with a colleague, why do office romance happen all the time? Because people build that trust, that feeling of like
Reliability.
true reliability.
Yeah.
Exactly. That you're an indispensable part of my life. And I don't want you to ever go away. And you make inside jokes that no one else can understand because you have your entire overarching life is combined. Right? You have your work, your regular personal life, your family life, and then now your kids eventually, right, will all be a part of that circle. So everything is combined. If you're a person who wants like pure independence and you want your family life to be separate from your work life and all that, then this will never work for you.
No.
But if you're a person that you really want your partner to be involved in every aspect of your life, which I for example, I don't know how to live without her in that role. I think it's just the romance naturally develops, and you love them for all the things that they're good at, and also the fact that they want to learn from you, and that you can teach them.
You inspire each
Yeah.
other and you
Exactly.
become the
Uplift is
best
inspired.
versions of each
And
other.
at the end of the day, there's really no one like her that would want you to succeed. And
Correct.
that, like, it's just given that you guys are there for the same
Correct. And
same thing.
And it makes you also just appreciate the fact that, it's funny enough, everyone I ever meet, every CEO of any other company I've ever met, I actually spoke to a guy yesterday who, like, I told him I work with my wife. He's like, oh my God, that must be horrible.
But that's the first thing
Everyone-
everybody says. Yeah.
people assume
you never
that's
meet
like-
someone that's gonna
yeah.
say, "Wow,
They're like,
that's amazing."
It's not a common thing typically. It's getting more and more common, I think, as more people go into small businesses and things like that. But they always look at it as like, oh, the wife might be nagging you, or your husband might be nagging you, or your partner might not be.
Or the wife is there because husband
To keep
is
an
just
eye on him or
giving. No. Sometimes, very frequently at the beginning, it was just I'm there as a co-founder
Because
just
you're my
because
wife,
I'm his
yeah.
wife.
She really adds no real value. It's just the fact that she's
But that's
my
a
wife.
perception that people
is a
build
We had
a lot of
investors
times.
that
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I'll give you an-
Question: they could have like why
I'll
her?
I'll give you a real example that actually happened to us within the last round of capital we raised. And it's funny enough, I even mentioned this to Dimitri. We had an investor that was a very well-known investor. I won't say the name of it, very large Silicon Valley-based company that invests in all the startups you guys have ever heard of. And they were very interested in the company, very interested in investing, lots of money into the business, and they wanted to lead our round, and they wanted to go through that. And one of the things that really kind of set us apart is that we're a really cool company and all that, and they loved it. And
Yeah.
they would speak to me about all these things, and they really aligned with us from the vision. But then I had a realization, and she also told me they never called her. Never spoke to her. Never asked her opinion. She's the co-founder of the company. She owns the other big percentage of the business, and they never even.
And you would think that they're
Undermining
interested
her.
enough
Correct.
to invest, like you would want to
Well,
speak to the other
not
part
only
of
that
this
interesting
equation.
enough, we got all the way down to the last papers.
I see.
So
Even
it
worse.
wasn't even like, oh, we're talking about potential investing. No. It's already done. Most of it is done. All the legal work is done. It's literally yes or no at this point. It's whether or not we take the offer or not. They would never ever even talk to her. And when I brought it up as a topic, just to broach the topic with them, they never even decided. No, they're like, no, I don't care. We don't need that conversation. That immediately told me that person and that company is not the right company for us. Not because they're not good people. They might be excellent people, and they probably would have been an excellent investor to have on our cap table and all that. The fact of the matter is that
They ignored the.
if you're just ignoring my co-founder because you think that's just his wife who just happens to be his wife, you don't get the big picture. You don't understand the business. You don't understand the story. You don't understand why we're in it and why we're actually wanting you to become an investor of ours. You're pitching us. We're not pitching you. We have people lining out the door to give us money. That's not the problem. If you're telling me I need to take money from you and you're not willing to go talk to my co-founder because of your bias or your perceived idea of where they lie in the hierarchy, then we're never going to align as people.
But you know what it is, Ariel? I think that in today's world, a lot of times people involve their significant others into business, but doesn't necessarily mean, like in your story, yes, Irina actually worked her butt off. Like she built this thing with you, but perceptually it could be like, oh, she's just part owner.
Correct.
And
exactly.
that's it. So that's the hard part. But the right person will see it, and I'm sure right investors saw the significance.
And we have amazing investors. All of our investors, by the way, are fabulous and great and amazing. And I could speak hours about how because they all believed in us early on.
Yeah.
Of course.
Every single one of our investors said, "Hey, I don't know whether or not your company is going to succeed." Majority of the time, actually, our company, a lot of people that invested in us didn't even understand that what our company was, but they believed in us. They believed in the combination of what we were doing, and they said, "Because we believe in you, we'll give you this kind of money as a leap of faith, and if you guys can succeed, that's awesome. If you don't, we know that we took a risk with you, and we're glad to be there along for the ride."
Because you could have the most brilliant business plan, ideas,
Could fail.
prototype, but if the right people are not behind it, I mean, it's not. It's a high chance it's not going to make it.
Startup investing is all about,
Of course.
all about who the startup founders are, right? I mean, the reason why Facebook is Facebook and now Meta and all that is because of Mark Zuckerberg.
Of course.
Steve Jobs, Apple, all these people are the reason why these companies are the companies that they are today. It's not because the company landed upon this amazing idea and a company and some guy in a corporate office decided this was going to be the most successful product ever. It's truly pioneers that lead the ground. And for us, we're trying to be pioneers in a very difficult space where she had no background in it and she had no insights in it. She had to learn on the way there. So for me,
Looks
that
like
was
you did a great job.
You guys did amazing. Yeah.
for me, that was kind of like also going back to romance. I fell in love with her with the fact that she cared enough to follow and make my dreams also a reality. Because I would have never been able to do that, I think, on my own if it wasn't for her. So
Real power couple. You guys are amazing.
So what's next?
Awesome.
Now the dynamics are changing. So soon, are you like?
Plus
you guys
one.
have a plan, or you're gonna be one of those moms with the stroller in the office? It's everybody's baby.
Probably.
What's? I mean, it's gonna change in some ways. Obviously, the reality will kick in. But do you guys are gonna shift to your current roles, or what's next?
We've been thinking about that, and because before I got pregnant and we announced it to everyone would ask like, when are you guys having kids? I'm like, I already have
Cubans
kids.
and Armenian family.
You're building.
yeah, the business is the kid,
Yeah,
right?
we truly do, and that's how I look at our company. This is not my job that I go in, even though yes, I'm an employee of the company today, but I do look at this company as this is something that I created, and I want to, even though it's like teenage years right now, let's say, it needs a little bit of
course,
autonomy of its own.
Nurturing and-
I need to be there. So by me thinking about the future, the next 9 months, 10 months, I definitely going to take, whatever time it takes for me to be with the baby, probably like 1 month.
Yeah.
I don't think I can, I want to
But
be
you have
more.
parents here too, right?
I'm
Yeah.
so lucky to
You're
have
blessed
the
to have
support.
parents to help,
We have a big
Ariel's
support, yeah.
parents, my
Yeah.
parents, all of our
That's so
family.
important.
I think that the transition is not going to be painful in terms of me being disconnected so much, because right now we're there 13, 14, 15
Yeah.
hours a day, and we enjoy that. We absolutely love it. Everyone who say that they're just, the founders that just say it to say it, no. Every founder who created something, they truly love it. They get burnt out, of course, but that's where the weekends are for. That's where quick getaways are for. We just, take a quick breath and then go back to.
Or you mix business with pleasure. Sometimes we do conferences. Like we just did a conference in Las Vegas, and we took
Made a little trip out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We made a little trip out of it. You go to the Sphere for like a night, and but then you have your daytime is fully packed with all things of meetings. So you have that balance. But to answer your original question, what is next for the business? For me, at least, the business is growing so rapidly across multiple countries. We just opened up a huge headquarters in Quito as well, in Ecuador. We're hiring about 165 new employees there, growing the company. We just launched a huge partnership with a large conglomerate in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
We were launching new products all over the U.S. We just launched a big product for employer benefits and all these other things.
And this is all still in digital space, right?
All in digital space.
space.
Well, health technologies, right? So it's not just direct to consumer. It's really, we've become more of a B2B business as well.
But B2C stays.
B2C stays, and that's still a huge part of our business today. But B2B is also where we've seen a huge opportunity
It's
grow.
amazing. So you're tapping on both
On
ends.
both sides, yeah. And now we're working with hospital systems all around the world. We're the back-end
big
system for
things.
the whole public sector of Ecuador, for the whole hospital management solution. So we're doing that in El Salvador as well. We're doing it in other countries and expanding as we grow. And we have an amazing team also that now helps us do a lot of things that rather than us doing it ourselves, and we can delegate. But
And I think it's great that some of the countries that you just named, I'm sure they would benefit having their citizens having jobs, right?
Oh, 1,000%, yeah.
You're creating jobs for these people, like you mentioned Ecuador. I'm sure that unemployment rate there and people struggling.
It's a very poor country,
yeah.
third world country.
So creating opportunities, I think it's
100%.
amazing. And top of the
And an American company coming in and taking a risk also
Right.
on a nation like that is also just not common, not
Right.
typical. Only really big, like large companies like Google's or Amazons of the world go and do those
So
types
it
of
gives them
things.
hope that they're
Yeah.
seeing too, like there's interest. Somebody from
Yeah.
US is going,
And they're
into
opening not
their-
only jobs, but they're opening up ideas for entrepreneurship and
That's amazing.
and things. So there's a lot of things
a lot
like
of
that.
growth, yeah.
From my end, nothing's really changing for me in the sense of like my role is the same. My role, I've taken more of a less of a day-to-day approach now. I'm not involved in like making the basic things run, but I am heavily involved in the product, and I want to make sure the product is always good. My job is to make sure that we're delivering the best possible solutions to all of our different types of business partners and customers. But that's any CEO. Anybody will tell you that. But my main objective with the company is I want to make everybody in our organization super successful, and I want to make everyone who's been there from the beginning with us. The time and energy they spend building this company together is not only valuable for them from a return on investment, but also that they have a great time and that they're proud of what they're doing.
I did some research, and it's actually was very nice and pleasant to see that people love working for you guys. Like people that are your employees. I'm not talking about obviously
Yeah.
investors and all of that, but people that are actually on your payroll, your employees, they really enjoy working with you. And they consider it's like a work family, and
Yeah.
then the dynamic is
That
very,
shows a lot.
especially Arena, that like she's very approachable, and she, people can go to her and they're heard. That's amazing, honestly. So that's so inspiring and
Yeah.
uplifting.
you.
So you guys are both doing amazing job, and I mean just the fact that you guys can manage, growing the business, working together now with
We
a
also
new
paid them a lot
addition.
of money so that they could do that. So they could say that.
Yeah, but it's not always that.
Not
I
true.
think that they could be getting paid and just coming for that.
No, for sure.
Just to
So
do
But
the
much
I
job,
feel
that
like
they
they
enjoy
love
being there.
who they're
Yeah.
working for.
There's
No,
zero
our
chance.
team, I think we just give shout out so much like internally to our team because
recognition.
we have such an amazing team. The individuals that started with us, I mean, in fair transparency, they took major pay cuts just to be with
But
us
they
because we
believed in
couldn't
your
we couldn't
guys'
afford.
business,
Yeah.
of
But they
course.
knew
Some of them
that
didn't get paid at all.
Right.
Yeah.
They believed in the
But
vision.
they
And that
believed,
happens
yeah.
with a lot
and
of
they did
startups.
it
But
with
guess
you.
what? If they believe in you guys,
Yeah.
maybe they can question the business and then is it healthy, is it not? But if they believe in you guys, it's what they're there for. So I mean, it's especially in today's world, like you said, people go for paychecks,
Yeah.
right? And then they don't really care who they work for unless as long as they get their paycheck. So it's very inspiring, very uplifting.
Thank you.
We were really looking forward
Yeah.
to having you
Awesome,
guys
thank you.
because your story, I'm sure, will inspire a lot of people. So if you have any projects, any goals that you want to accomplish with your partners, don't be scared. This is a perfect example that it's all possible. You just have to do it with a lot of love, dedication, commitment, communication,
Patience.
and patience.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because based on
And not-
this story,
And not
patience
everything
was
works out the beginning,
Yeah,
right?
don't give up.
So don't
Trial
give up.
and error. You will
Trial and
find a
error.
way for it to work.
Yeah. And then you can even get a baby on
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah,
so on
exactly.
top of that's a big bonus, So
That's
a
just
big
the cherries
bonus.
on top.
That's
are you ready for fatherhood?
I think I am. I think I will basically make that child either
Genius, and then start
no.
programming or doing business plans when he's like 2 years old.
Probably that's the probably actually I think my child might hate me just from the sake of the amount of effort and energy they're gonna be put on to like be successful. So I
sure
gotta
they will
tone that
be.
down. I gotta work with them so that way they don't grow a complex of like, oh, I'm not good enough or whatever
Perfectionist.
or something like that. But I think I'm ready for fatherhood. I think she's gonna be an amazing mother. She
You guys
pretty
seem
much
to
is.
balance
Yeah,
each other so well. I think
I was gonna say that.
you're gonna kick him. Like, come on, we gotta do this. And she's
Yeah.
like, no, one thing at a time.
Exactly, and I'm not afraid of changing diapers, even though she might not see me doing that. But I'm not afraid of changing diapers. I like the idea of having a child now. I think it's the right moment, not only within our lives but within the business as well. And I think it also it will help me kind of reset my life a little bit, where my priorities are going to shift
Absolutely,
slightly.
it adds a
and-
completely different perspective, and then your
You'll
values, your
appreciate, yeah,
visions
yeah.
shift so much that you see a new purpose, like a completely different purpose
Yeah.
of like putting it all in. Like it's amazing. We wish you guys best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
Can't wait to
then
see.
We want to see
all
the
the
next
great
steps,
things.
so that
Yeah.
hopefully the next year you guys can come back and then
We'll come back with the
update
baby.
on everything else. Yes,
We'll bring the
please.
baby with us.
Please,
Yeah.
best of luck. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you
guys.
for
Thank
watching.
you.
Until next time.
Awesome.
Wow.